Reactivity is a really important feature on today's modern metal detectors. Now we all know that reactivity can make the machine run faster or slower to gather more information. But there's lots of videos on that subject, so I'm not going to dwell on that too much. What this video is all about is when to use different reactivities based on the information you're getting from the detector. Now I'm going to try this XP Deus 2 on 3 different pieces of land. I'm going to try it on some rested stubble, I'm going to try it on some ploughed field, and I'm going to try it on some pasture, all with the exact program, and we're going to adjust the reactivity to suit. Now I just want to touch on the reactivity on a lower level will give the machine more punch, it will give it a little bit more depth. However, it may introduce too much noise, it may be unusable, so you've got to find that happy medium with your reactivity setting. So what do I think is going to be the ideal reactivity settings for these 3 pieces of land? Well, I'm only guessing because I've not even turned the machine on, but my guessing would be stubble, a mid reactivity, something like 2.5, plough where you've got a lot of minerals and disturbance, something like 3, a faster reactivity, and perhaps the pasture we can go a little bit lower, something like 1 or 1.5 on the reactivity. So I don't know, let's go out and do this experiment together. I could be completely wrong on this one. So let's start off by having a wiggle around on this stubble using the Nero program, which is the general program in 2 tones, high tone 881. We've just done a video on that the other week, so you can refer to that. I've not saved the program as the Nero, I've just literally changed the general program, which takes seconds. So here we go, Nero 1 program, 2 tones. Start off with reactivity 2.5, which is the standard reactivity for this program. So let's have a little listen to see what this machine sounds like on 2.5. It's not too bad, but it's a little bit spitty and poppy. So let's see what the difference is with reactivity 1. Everything has been made longer and wider due to the slower reactivity. But let's go to reactivity 0. Now there's just one thing I'd like to point out, that if you're using a lower reactivity, you may want to sweep slower as well. They work hand in hand. Okay, reactivity 0. Now can you hear? It's been enhanced once again, so the machine is virtually unusable. I'm going to go up to reactivity 3 now, and let's hear what it sounds like on reactivity 3. Here we go, number 3. That's exactly how I want this machine to sound. I want it to give me a little bit of a blurb on iron, perhaps the odd false signal, but nothing I can't deal with. Reactivity between 2.5 and 3 are probably going to be a good choice here. Let's go on to a bit of freshly ploughed soil and see what the reactivity settings are with this Deus 2 over this piece of ground. Now freshly ploughed soil can pose a bit of a problem because all the minerals get disturbed and brought up. The machines can be a little bit unsteady, so let's give it a try now. Here we go, 2.5. In this instance, I don't think 2.5 is bad actually. It seems to be working really well. Let's try 0, reactivity 0. Let's go right to the bottom of the scale. Here we go then, 0. That's that long signal again. Absolutely not. 0 is far too low for this piece of land. So 2.5 worked pretty well. Let's have a wiggle with 1.5. 1.5. Still getting a lot of those chirps coming through. If you can deal with that, that's absolutely fine. 1.5, too low on this one. Let's go up to reactivity 3 and then compare it against 2.5. Reactivity number 3. Still got some chirps coming through, but that's quite manageable, isn't it? So once again, the sweet spot is between 2.5 and 3. Personally, I think I'd go with 3 on this one. Well, perhaps the fact that the ground's been ploughed up, there's lots of air in it, the minerals have all been disturbed, perhaps that slightly nulls metal detectors in some ways, because we all know on fluffy soil the detectors aren't quite perfect, are they? Yet when it's all rolled and seeded and all the air's pressed out of it, they work absolutely brilliant. But that's something I've got to perhaps pay a little bit of attention to in the future. That's the reactivity on freshly ploughed soil. So will it change on pasture? Let's go and have a look. Well, here we go. We're on some nice lush pasture now. Not ideal for detecting. The grass is a little bit long, but I think it's going to be perfect for what we want to demonstrate. Once again, the Nero 1 program with reactivity 2.5. Let's do a little pass and just see what it sounds like on 2.5. Here we go, reactivity 2.5. A nice steady sweep, we don't have to go too fast. Deep signal there. It's behaving very well, isn't it? I think we might be able to go a little bit lower on this. .5, touch quiet. I think we can go down to 0, see what it sounds like at reactivity 0, and just work from there. So with 2.5 being a little bit quiet, we know there's no point going to 3 on this field, but be interesting to see what 0 sounds like. Reactivity 0. Nice slow sweep speed with reactivity 0. Tiny little bit of feedback, but nothing really to worry about. That's that target. You can hear it's got a stutter with it, but it's still really faint. I'd dig that. Another potential target there. So perhaps 0 reactivity is a touch too low for this field. Maybe 0.5 or 1 would be the better choice. So this little video was really just to demonstrate that we all want to go deep, but sometimes the soil conditions won't allow it. And the same applies to your sensitivity. For example, whacking the sensitivity right up, you may introduce some EMI or false signals from the ground. So it's all a balancing act, isn't it? But I think the reactivity is such an important feature. You have to adjust the reactivity on the day. The ground tells you what to set the reactivity at, but when you get on the field, just spend a little bit of time tweaking the reactivity up and down and think, yeah, that'll do. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you for your continued support. Let us know what reactivity settings you use on a machine. How did you get on before there was no reactivity settings? I think we all managed quite well, didn't we? We didn't even know about reactivity back then. But modern machines have got reactivity. It's best to understand them and use them as of when. Let the field dictate what reactivity to use, and then just use the best settings you can. Now, there's just one thing I would say. If I was hunting for a specific deep target, well, then I'd lower the reactivity so the machine was a little bit unstable, but I'd accept that because I was hunting for a particular deep target. And I'd probably use the relic mode as well, because that takes a really low reactivity without getting out of shape. Give it a try. Let us know what your favourite reactivity settings are. Let us know your thoughts below, and thanks for watching, and I'll see you again very soon. Bye for now.